Hello, welcome to How to Play Bahama Taxi One-on-One. The board came from 10signshop.com if you want one, so there you go. And this game is on Paget.com, a great place to find invented card games and traditional ones. So please hit like and subscribe. And if you look on the video on YouTube, if you click on that description there, you'll be shown all kinds of credits and other places to learn games, in addition to where we got the music, plus a nice little Discord link where people talk about cards. Now, the board consists of roads and a border. The border means nothing. Your pawn can only travel on the roads, and if you notice, the ace point has no bridges connecting it to the same color aces. There's where the guys are standing, and there's where they want to go. And I recommend putting some coins down in the places where the people are standing, so you get a better visual reference. This is what your cab looks like. You have 3 seats for passengers, 1 for yourself. And there's the 3 deadlines. We will go through these in the game. So, all you need to do is shuffle your card deck and then let the other player break the deck, cut the deck, and get a starting position. And then you're going to start creating passengers. Those 2 cards, go ahead and put your pawns where they correspond to, and then place them in the discard pile. They're not going to be used for the rest of the game. So that means instead of having 26 passengers, we're only going to have 25 passengers this game. So, the cards closest to the board are where the passengers are standing, and the bottom card, the card furthest from the board, is where they're going. So player 1 went ahead and moved 1, and he picked up the Queen Heart going to King of Clubs. So it should be a 1 move point. Now, when you actually do get to the point where the passengers are wanting to go, and every time, of course, that you take a passenger, you generate a new one. When you get to that point, you're scoring points based off of the fewest moves between point A and point B. So, just to recap, that's what everything is. And right about here, yeah, I totally didn't drop off my passenger. Now, I could have played it off, but no, we're just going to keep it as is. That's the rule. If you manage to miss your drop off, you don't get to do a redo. So that actually cost me a lot in this game. Let's see how much it actually cost me. So now we're picking up passengers. Now, my wife, of course, is at 3 passengers. I'm at 2. She can't pick any more up, and now I picked up my last available passenger. So now we have to drop one off before we can pick up another passenger. The key being that we have no more room in the cab. We only have 3 seats in the cab, 4 passengers, 1 for the driver. The passengers can't drive the taxi cab because they'll never bring it back to you. They'll just steal it. So now she dropped off a passenger. Now I dropped off a passenger. I'm doing the scoring notation. I'm doing King Diamond to 4 Diamond. And then I'm counting those spaces up. And of course, that was worth 4 points. So I'm going to write that 4 points down. She's making her move. Now I'm making my move. And I'm picking up another passenger and putting it down right in front of me. A new passenger gets generated and we continue going. And just ignore that. She changed her mind midway through. So that was still 1 move. So these pawns move 1 move at a time. So it gives you a chance strategically in this game to think about where your opponent's going, what possible moves they can make. Will they beat you to a point by assessing whose turn it is? Turn order matters in this game. With the 2 1-on-1, it's a lot easier to think about. When you start getting 3 and 4 player games, it's a little bit more chaotic, a lot more to consider. And which is probably why I missed that move. I was too busy trying to get this game done in a hurry. So we had the camera set up in a new way. We didn't have much time to play it. So my head was not in the game, and I completely missed that. So now she's dropping off another passenger, going from 10 of club to, what is that, ace of spade. That's 4 points. And now I finally drop off my 1 point passenger. I should have dropped off, and I should have had an empty space in my cab, but I didn't notice. So definitely pay attention to this game, because it will cost you if you don't. Which, you know, this makes this game fun. It's an easy game to play. 2-on-2, it's a lot easier than having 3 or 4 players on. And it's just a little dance for a while until you can drop off a passenger. And you're looking at your other passengers too when you're determining your movements. As simple of a concept as it is, You're really solving a traveling salesman problem in this game, and also considering where other passengers are going to go. So you need to drop off your passengers and think about, okay, I know these passengers are over here. In the process of dropping them off, I need to pick up another one somewhat immediately after. You don't necessarily always assess the values of the passengers, though you can. Um, in the case of a two-player game, it's usually going to be a close game, um, usually by a point or two. And there's another way to play the game. Instead of discarding that starting cards into the discard piles we did in the beginning of the video, which is what the original rules require, we noticed that if you actually use those as destination cards and generate passengers on top of them, you end up usually not having a stranded passenger at the end of the game. But it's up to you if you want to do that. And of course, each game in this game is different. The most powerful combination of cards you can have is two cards that are of the same value, of the same color. Particularly the 5 card. The 5 card takes 8 moves to get from red 5 to red 5. So 5 diamond to 5 hearts, 8 moves. Now the 3s, on the other hand, 3 of the same color, it's only 6 moves because of that big diamond road in the middle. If you look at the path that the 3 of clubs to the 3 of spades has, for instance, you see a big diamond shape, and it doesn't net you as many points. So doubles are of the same color are usually really good cards. We didn't have any this game, but each game is different. You can play this game a million times, and you will not have the same passenger layout. You will not have the same starting point. And it's now we have reached our first deadline. We are now only allowed to hold 2 passengers from here on out. So once these passengers get dropped off, we're grandfathered in, of course. Once these passengers get dropped off, we then cannot pick up a third passenger. That's the 8 passenger left rule. When there's only 8 passengers left, you're only allowed to carry 2. So now we're scoring everything up. Now, the scoring notation, you don't necessarily have to do that, but if you want to really study this game and do some research on it, it's not a bad way. You can do each move in this fashion to show the rank and suit, and then the next rank and suit, and then the next rank and suit until it's scored. That way you could really have a full categorization of the game if you want to just take up a whole bunch of pages and do some notation study. I mean, since this is such an obscure game, it would be research that would be worthwhile if somebody's watching this that's going to a university and they run a mathematics department, or they're in one and they need something silly to study. This would be a good game. It's obscure. It would be really simple premise, so it's not overly complex or complicated. I think it would be fun to determine just how random this game is as far as determining the winner. If there is optimal choices, despite not knowing where the next passengers are going to come from, it would be pretty interesting. But hopefully this video, if anybody had any confusion about this game from the first attempt I ever had making one, hopefully this video corrected some of those issues. Hopefully there's no misunderstandings. But somehow, if there are, you can write in the comments and any questions or concerns you may have, and I'll quickly answer them. The thing I neglected to mention at the start of the video was that the player with the higher ranked positioning card, in my case I had the Ace of Hearts to start this game, that player goes first. If there are 2 of the same value, then go based off the top of the board. The ranked suits will be spades, hearts, clubs, and diamonds being the bottom. And if you do it that way, let's say we all had drawn an ace. In a 4-player game, everybody's on an ace. One's on ace of spades, one's on the ace of hearts, one's on the ace of clubs, and of course the last one's on the ace of diamonds. Well, who goes first in that case? Well, in that case, ace of spades, followed by ace of hearts, followed by ace of clubs. Now we've reached our second deadline. We only have 4 passengers remaining. So now, after I drop off my second passenger, I'm confined to only holding 1 passenger. And my wife is in the same boat. She has to drop off at the ace of club, and then I now drop off the 3 of spade. Now I can no longer pick up another passenger. I'm done as far as picking up passengers. It's over for me until I drop off at 7 hearts. She, on the other hand, is trying to get to ace of clubs. And once she gets to ace of clubs, she'll be able to pick somebody else up. And she actually has a very quick turnaround. Okay, miscalculated. So now she's dropping off from to ace of clubs, calculating the values, writing it down. Now she picks up a passenger. Now I'm going to go ahead and drop off this next move, count the spaces. So that's a 3 move total there, because to go from 4 to 6 to 8 of hearts to 7 of hearts, that was 3 moves. It took 3 moves to do that. And no matter how far away you travel with the passenger, you only get points for the shortest route. And that's what the backstory of this game was. A guy from Poland goes to the Caribbean, specifically the Bahamas, for vacation, and notices they all ride in the same cab, and they don't ever seem to be in a hurry. And he just thought of this game as, well, they don't seem to be in a hurry. They all share a taxi, and if somebody's going to the west side of town and the cab first goes to the east side of the town to drop somebody off and then pick somebody else up, they don't seem to care if it takes an hour to get where they're going, because there's no rush in the Bahamas. Everybody's laid back. And that's how this game was born. And it's such an interesting idea to take something with simple, everyday components and turning it into such a masterpiece like this. So now there's 1 passenger remaining, which is our 3rd deadline. So I've already calculated I'm going to beat her getting there. And then she does something interesting. This is the other rule. You can't jump over a pawn in this game, and you are blocked from entering that space that she's on. So that's the blocking rule. It doesn't happen too often. Well, we determined she won, so that mistake did cost me dearly. So that's the 3rd deadline, is when the last passenger gets picked up. That passenger doesn't score. Any passengers in hand do not score. And then you total up the score, and highest score wins. She won. And if you actually want to play this game or any other game, domino, dice, board, card, come to card game meetups, post your city, post what games you know or what you want to learn or what you want to try or what you want to teach. And hopefully when we start getting more members in, we will actually have enough people to do that. So do tell your friends about this channel. Do send them links. Tell them to like and subscribe. The more subscribers we have, the more people I know are engaged in these videos. And if you ever have a question about a game or a comment about a game, go ahead and put it in the comment section. I will try to answer it. And don't be discouraged if you haven't played a lot of games before and you're trying these out for the first time, because it can be somewhat difficult to learn a game, especially one that's new to you. And every game I do that's brand new to me, it takes me a little bit to get used to, because you do tend to have biases towards other games where you remember those rules and you're trying to make sure you're not running all the rules together. It happens a lot with people. It's how a lot of house rules have been developed for various board and card games. So don't be discouraged. Keep trying. In the end, you will get the game and you will enjoy it. So let everybody know about this channel, and we will see you next video.